Hello to all class 10 students and class 10th. I hope you all are doing good. And I told you that lesson number 12 is not in the syllabus. We have completed lesson number 11, and lesson number 11 was alternative market structures. We have done that, and no need to do lesson number 12. Right? So we'll be directly starting with lesson number 13. Lesson number 13 is instruments of state intervention. Now, what does this mean? What does the topic mean, or the name of the chapter? What does it says? It says that what are the ways? Instruments basically are the tools, right? So basically, we are saying what are the tools of the state intervention. Now here, instrument means basically tools, or you can say ways, and state is your government, right? So what are the tools or what are the ways of the government of intervention? Intervention means the बीच में आना या to do something. ठीक है, तो intervention means to come in between and to do something. So here what is happening is this, that we have to read that what are the instruments or what are the ways of the government to interact with the economy, to work for the economy, to make the economy grow or develop, right? So here we are going to basically read that how the government plays its role, basically through what instruments or through what tools the government plays its roles for the development and growth of Indian economy. So here we are going to read that what are the things, what are the tools of the government, right? So basically, see, we cannot. Different economies have different type of structures. So different economies have different natures. Some economy are capitalist economy. Some economy are socialist economy. Some economy are mixed economy. Like India, in the case of India, it's a mixed economy. We have private sector also and public sector also. So different economies have different type of nature, different type of structure. So still, the entire growth or the entire development of a nation cannot be left over the free forces of market demand and supply. We say that free forces of market demand and supply settle everything, but it's not possible every time. So we cannot say that price mechanism is going to help out, or free forces of market demand and supply is going to settle down everything. No, it becomes very important for the government to come the government to play its role. The government has to play its role. Now, why the government? Here we are using term government or we use term state, right? Both have the same meaning. So we want the government. Government has to come in between. Government has to intervene and has to look after the growth. Has to look after the growth, development of the nation, right? We cannot sit alone and we cannot say that no, only market demand, market free forces demand and supply are going to do everything. Demand and supply are going to decide about the progress, development and growth. No, it's not possible, because demand and supply are something which is different kind of forces. They play very freely. They do not demand and supply do not see or understand what is growth and what is development. So it becomes very important that a particular body has to come forward to discuss, to work on these aspects. So the government of any country, the government of any country has a very important role to play to work on these two aspects, that is growth and development of any nation. So here in this lesson, basically in this lesson, or the name of the topic that tells you, or name of the chapter what tells you is this, that what are the ways through which government intervenes. Government tries to do good things for the nation, right? Good things for the nation. Basically here we are going to read that what role does the government play and what are the instruments, basically through what things the government is trying to bring development and growth in the economy. So uh, now, so that basically when we start this, so we'll see that what are the instruments. Basically here, the instruments we are going to discuss in detail are going to be fiscal policy, right? First is going to be fiscal policy and monetary policy. So government also has something. Government also needs some tools. Government also needs some weapons through which it can actually act in the economy. Right? It can make plans. It can make policies. It can make programs to take the economy to the way of or to the path of success. So here we are going to detail this in this chapter. We are going to discuss about these two things in detail. Right, we are going to read it detailed. So I will not suggest you to leave any part of this chapter because they have already deleted 3 chapters. So I would suggest you to do each and every part of the chapters, whatever they are in the syllabus. Whatever they are in the syllabus, the rest of the chapter you are going to read them thoroughly. Same way we are going to do this chapter in detail. It's a quite long chapter and will take time. So initially we are going to start with fiscal policy. First part of the chapter is fiscal policy. We are going to start with fiscal policy only. So here we are going to start with what? Fiscal policy. So if I ask you what are the instruments or what are the tools through which the government acts for the development of the economy, you are going to say there are 2 tools. Basically the major those 2 tools are fiscal policy and monetary policy. Right? So what fiscal policy is all about, we are going to read it now. So fiscal policy, they say that fiscal policy refers to the policy of the government, right? Policy of the government through which the government work on taxation, public debt, public expenditure and deficit financing. So basically what we can say is this, that the subparts or the tools of fiscal policy, there are 4 tools of fiscal policy, or there are 4 constituents of fiscal policy. These are public debt, public expenditure, taxation and deficit financing. Right? These all 4 things all together make what? Fiscal policy. Right? So here in this chapter we are going to read about these all 4 things, that what is public debt, what is public expenditure, what is taxation and what is deficit financing. So we'll be starting, basically first we'll be starting with taxation only, but let's go through some more stuff. So they say that fiscal policy, now I'm starting with the fiscal policy. First paragraph, fiscal policy refers to policy of the government. So basically fiscal policy is what? Fiscal policy is the policy of the government with regard to taxation, public expenditure, public borrowing. Public borrowing, they are saying public debt, you can use either debt or borrowing, right? Public borrowing and expenditure, public borrowing, so as to promote economic development of a country. So here they have not said this deficit financing, maybe further they might have said, but this is also the part of what? This is also the part of fiscal policy. So basically you have 4 constituents, 4 elements are there in fiscal policy. Again I repeat, fiscal policy refers to the policy of the government with regard to taxation, public expenditure, public borrowing and fiscal deficit, as to promote. Now we are using, the government is using these all 4 in their fiscal policy for what? To promote, for promoting economic development. Right? So for economic development, fiscal policy, these all things are taking place. Right? Now thus there are 3 elements in the fiscal policy: taxation policy, public expenditure and public borrowing. A good and effective fiscal policy uses these three instruments in proper combination and in the right balance. So here they are not talking about this. I can see that they are not talking about this, but it is also a part of fiscal policy. So never mind if in your book if these three things are given, we are going to discuss these 3 things only. There is no need to discuss that fiscal policy. Okay, so what are the 3 constituents of fiscal policy? Public debt, or you can call it public borrowing also, public expenditure and taxation. Deficit financing is not there till now. Okay, then let's read further. What there's a few definitions has been given. Fiscal policy means public expenditure and taxation policy. Paul Samuelson says this. Then fiscal policy is a policy under which the government uses its expenditure and revenue programs, right? Expenditure and revenue programs to produce desirable effect and avoid undesirable effect on the national income, production and employment. Now what this definition says, Paul Sabelson's definition, Arthur Smith's definition, what do they say? They say that, so what they are trying to say in this definition, I will specifically tell you, Arthur Smith says that fiscal policy is a policy in which the government uses its expenditure. I told you, government is using what? Government is doing, basically they are saying using, but the government is doing the what? Public expenditure. That means expenditure. Public expenditure means expenditure which is made on public. And where do the government make expenditures? Though we are going to read in detail, but the government makes expenditure on bridges, roads, constructions, schools, कॉलेजेस, इन सब पे जो खर्चा करते हैं उसे हम पब्लिक एक्सपेंडिचर बोलते हैं. तो गवर्नमेंट क्या कर रही है? पब्लिक एक्सपेंडिचर कर रही है. कहाँ से कर रही है? अपने रेवेन्यू से. रेवेन्यू मतलब इनकम. रेवेन्यू जो है वो क्या है? आपकी इनकम है. इनकम लोग इकट्ठा हो रहे हैं. इनकम किसके थ्रू इकट्ठा हो रही है? टैक्स के थ्रू इकट्ठा हो रही है, या तो बोरिंग की जा रही है, या तो क्या की जा रही है? बोरिंग की जा रही है, राइट. सो यहाँ पे आप देखोगे कि इस डेफिनेशन में इन्होंने क्या किया? तीनों पार्ट्स को, ये फोर्थ पार्ट तो आपकी डेफिनेशन में नहीं है या आपको नहीं दिया गया है. इस डेफिसिट फाइनेंसिंग को नहीं बोला जा रहा है, पर डेफिसिट फाइनेंसिंग भी एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट है, पर वो आपके लिए आपकी बुक में नहीं दिया गया है, वो सीनियर क्लासेस में दिया जाता है. सो तो ऑल टुगेदर दिस डेफिनेशन इज अ वेरी गुड डेफिनेशन. आई वुड सजेस्ट यू कैन गो फॉर दिस डेफिनेशन आल्सो. इट सेज दैट पब्लिक एक्सपेंडिचर इज द पॉलिसी वेयर द गवर्नमेंट इज डूइंग पब्लिक एक्सपेंडिचर. गवर्नमेंट खर्चा कर रही है इन सब चीजों में थ्रू अपने रेवेन्यूज से. पहले रेवेन्यूज इकट्ठा कर रही है. रेवेन्यूज कहाँ से आ रहे हैं? या तो टैक्सेस से आ रहे हैं, लोगों से टैक्सेस ले जा रहे हैं, या तो बोरोइंग की जा रही है किसी तरीके से. गवर्नमेंट बोरोइंग में बोरो भी करती है, तो गवर्नमेंट अपने रेवेन्यू से, जो गवर्नमेंट की इनकम है वो या तो टैक्सेस से आ रही है, तो बोरिंग से आ रही है, और ये सारा पैसा किस में खर्च कर दिया जा रहा है? पब्लिक एक्सपेंडिचर में खर्च कर दिया जा रहा है. सो फिस्कल पॉलिसी इज अ पॉलिसी अंडर विच गवर्नमेंट यूजेस इट्स एक्सपेंडिचर एंड रेवेन्यू प्रोग्राम्स टू प्रोड्यूस डिजायरेबल इफेक्ट. Now we are doing these all things, the government is doing these all things. Why? For what? For desirable effects and avoid undesirable effects. और जो undesirable effects है उनको avoid किया जाएगा. अब जो undesirable effects है किस पे हो सकते हैं? नेशनल इनकम पे हो सकते हैं, प्रोडक्शन में हो सकते हैं, और एम्प्लॉयमेंट में हो सकते हैं. So I believe this is going to be the best definition. The middle definition, Arthur Smith's definition, you can prepare for exams also. The last definition says fiscal policy involves changes in government expenditure and taxation designed to influence the pattern of the level of activity. This is also an okay definition. They are saying that taxation को किस तरह से डील करना है कि बाकी सारी एक्टिविटीज पे ध्यान दिया जा सके. तो all together I think the middle definition that is given by Arthur Smith is going to be the best and complete definition in itself. Alright, so this is going to be the best definition. So we have completed the definition, and I will suggest you you go and go for the middle definition. Now, what are the objectives of fiscal policy in the developed economy? Now, see, every economy is either developed or it is underdeveloped or it is developing. So here they have given objectives in different ways. They are discussing, not discussing exactly. In short, they have given objectives of developed economy, then objectives of underdeveloped economy, and then general objectives. General objectives मतलब those objectives जो सब जगह applicable है, whether the economy is developing or underdeveloped. तो तीन तरह के objectives has been given to you, right? So when we start talking about objectives of developed economy means what? When I tell you that what is developed economy, so developed economy means economy which is already developed. The economy like USA is a developed economy with high income, economy with low population, low unemployment, low poverty. These economies are developed economy. ये विकसित economies है, ये विकास कर चुकी हैं. ठीक है, तो इन economies में objectives क्या हैं? सिर्फ दो ही objectives दिए गए होंगे. ठीक है, दो ही objectives दिए गए हैं, तो वो बोल रहे हैं कि what are these objectives? They say that since the developed economies have already made substantial economic progress, their basic aim is now as I told you, developed economy means विकसित, जो विकास कर चुकी हैं. तो भी इकोनॉमी जो विकास कर चुकी है उनको और विकास की जरूरत तो इतनी नहीं है, लेकिन हाँ जो विकास उन्होंने किया है, जो डेवलपमेंट उन्होंने किया है उसको मेंटेन करने की जरूरत जरूर है. तो बेसिकली यहाँ पे दो चीज़ों को मेंटेन करती है. पहला वो टू अचीव एंड मेंटेन फुल एम्प्लॉयमेंट. द फर्स्ट ऑब्जेक्टिव in developed economy is going to be first achieve and maintain full employment. Okay, this is very key word, full employment. And second is going to be, second is to achieve economic stability by controlling both inflation and deflation. Achieving economic stability by both inflation and deflation. By controlling both. So here what they are saying that yeah, now we know that the developed economy is already developed. विकसित कर चुकी है. USA economy, France, Japan, USSR, these all economies are developed economies, so they have already developed. They have all those good things in them. Now what exactly important for them? What are the two main objectives? The two main objectives is going to always maintain full employment, right? So the here we talk about maintaining. यहाँ पे तो उन्होंने सब कुछ कर लिया है, तो उन्हें अब क्या करना है? दो ही मेन चीजों को ध्यान रखना है कि चीजों को मेंटेन करके रखना है. और मेंटेन करने के लिए पहली चीज क्या है? आपको अचीव भी करना है, पाना भी है और मेंटेन भी करना है फुल एम्प्लॉयमेंट. दैट मीन्स देयर शुड ऑलवेज बी पीपल should always be busy with some work. Nobody should sit idle. That means wastage of human resource should not be there. Wastage of any kind of any resource should not be there. तो आपको full employment को पाना भी है और अचीव भी करना है. एंड आपको क्या करना है? इकोनॉमिक स्टेबिलिटी अचीव करनी है. इकोनॉमिक स्टेबिलिटी, व्हेन वी से व्हाट इज इकोनॉमिक स्टेबिलिटी? इकोनॉमिक स्टेबिलिटी मतलब होता है कि नो साइक्लिकल फ्लक्चुएशंस. कोई भी उतार चढ़ाव, अप्स एंड डाउन्स नहीं आने चाहिए. ठीक है, मतलब इकोनॉमी एक सेटल होनी चाहिए, पूरी इस नॉर्मल उससे चलनी चाहिए. ऊपर अप एंड डाउन्स नहीं आने चाहिए. अप एंड डाउन्स मतलब इकोनॉमी में कभी आपकी बहुत इन्फ्लेशन हो गया, बहुत महंगाई हो गई, या बहुत डिफ्लेशन हो गया. चीज़ें डिफ्लेशन मतलब चीज़ें जो बहुत सस्ती हो जाती है ना, हम डिफ्लेशन कहते हैं. तो इन्फ्लेशन मतलब महंगाई भी बहुत ख़राब होती है, और डिफ्लेशन मतलब चीज़ों को सस्ता होना, बहुत ज़्यादा सस्ता होना भी बहुत ख़राब होता है. तो हमको ये दो चीज़ें क्या करनी है? कंट्रोल करनी है. इन दो चीज़ों से हम इकोनॉमिक स्टेबिलिटी पा सकते हैं. इकोनॉमिक स्टेबिलिटी मीन्स टू कीप द इकोनॉमी स्टेबल. ठीक है. So this I'm going to discuss, a paragraph is there, and this I'm going to discuss with the people later on. So I believe the chapter is, what we are going to read in this chapter is clear to you, and how the things are going to go, it's clear to you. So I'll be seeing you soon in the next video, and till then take care of yourself, stay at home, stay healthy.